enjoyment starts with the dirt. Not to be corny, but I mean seriously, being out in the woods, in the dirt, and just creating something, that's pretty cool. I mean, that's where it starts. I've always had excuses to go out in the woods and do something, and mountain bike is basically an extension of that. So certainly trail building. I mean, I bet you most trail builders built forts when they were kids, somewhere out in the woods, built a ramp of some sort in the street or something. So it probably goes back to, for all of us. I got into it when I was living in Boston. About 1997, I guess, was when I had my first proper mountain bike. And I had a buddy that rode, and I was doing a lot of riding around town and wanted to get out to the woods, so started riding mountain bike. Well, I didn't think about building trails until I moved back to North Carolina and got into the bootleg trails around here, saw that there was more than the trails that were out at the designated places. I was introduced to it directly from Brian Plaster, actually. He was the one who always talked about trail building, and he seemed to know everyone that built all the trails around here. We'd ride on them and say, this is Jeff's trail, or this is Matt Lee's trail. So the first trail that I ever built was a place that I was looking at on the south side, and it ended up being what I guess it's known at now as Feng Hua, and that was God, what was that? 2010 maybe? I don't know. I might be way off, but it seems like it was that long ago. And I found a section out there that I thought could be built on, and I talked to Brian about it after I pushed in a little bit, and then it started to get way off camber, and I was clearly out of my depth at that point. It didn't take long, about 100 yards maybe. But I brought Helm on, and together we finished that trail, and it became known as Feng Hua, and that's when the light went off, and I was like, okay, there's places that you can find little lines in small places, and there's a lot of potential. And after that, I started looking on more maps, satellite maps. That's when that stuff was really getting advanced and interactive and up to date. And I started looking around at places, and that ended up going to Northwoods. Well, GIS and the satellite imagery and all that is phenomenal. I mean, you can build trails, and I did, going right up to the line. And in the case of UB40, there was one section where I knew the property line was so close, and this was in the middle of the woods. There was no distinguishing factors other than just trees and terrain. And but I had looked on the GIS and found out where the property line was, and I knew that section was probably going to be developed. Now, I'd be lying if I said I knew exactly where it was, but I got it on a guesstimation pretty darn close, within feet. I actually would have liked to have not been that close, but it's a totally useful tool, incredibly useful. Back when we started building it, it's hard to believe, but that stuff was still coming along, and you didn't really know exactly where to go to retrieve all this stuff online. At least I didn't. I'm sure it was there, but it wasn't as interactive, I'm sure. Because now you can go to GIS maps, and they have satellite imagery and detailed topo. I mean, it's amazing. That's where I spend most of my time, online.
So I know you have had some involvement with NICA here in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
I read an article in some outside magazine, might have been Outside Magazine, and they were talking about this new bike league. And it sounded like it was going to be coming here, but then it kind of faltered out. So I just looked into it, started investigating what North Carolina's interest level was. There was an interest level, but there wasn't an organization yet. And the more I looked into it, I figured out what to do. And first thing you had to do is form a Facebook page, get a core board of directors or potential board of directors together. And that's what I did. The first meeting was actually at Back Alley Bikes. Jason actually helped out a lot with that, which was, I think he's still helping out with NICA, which he had a lot of good input before and during the meeting. And then we got, I was the co-director of the bid proposal, and we campaigned with NICA and got all our ducks in a row and did what we needed to do, one of which was raise a lot of money. And we went out in 2015 to Interbike to accept the bid, for them to accept our bid. And it was great. It was a good time. And that's when I got out, and now my son's racing with me. So.
When you're building, what's your favorite tool?
Jeff Knight got me turned on to the double bit axe. One side for the wood, straight up clean cuts at any wood, and the other side for roots and dirt and even digging. And with that sucker, you can cut out 3-inch tree with 3-4 calculated. If you knew where the roots were, you could do it easily. And 3 or 4 blows, and the whole thing will come up by cutting the roots and not even bothering with the top.